is love. Love in this place. Whenever two or more of us gathered in His name, I found the world is all the same.
Then, welcome to another episode of Level Up Your Marriage with Paul Blake and Raquel Blake out of Jamaica. Wherever you're joining from this evening, we are happy to have you as our audience. And as always, we look forward to having a wonderful discussion. We will be picking up our discussion from last week, where we were talking about the importance of having boundaries in marriage. And we were looking at last week, we stopped at the um, physical and emotional boundaries. And we mentioned a number of things. We looked at the need for personal space, for affection, for privacy, uh, emotional boundaries. We looked at the need for emotional support and emotional expression. And so we want to continue our discussion this evening along the same line of setting boundaries. And Sister Blake, you can remind us what are boundaries, or what was our working definition of boundaries?
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome again. We are happy to be here. Level up your marriage. And this evening, as Paul says, we are continuing our discussion about boundaries in marriage. So, when you think about boundaries, what come to mind? Guidelines, uh, direction, a line, a border of some sort that kind of guides behavior, guides a relationship, guides a transaction. And as we are talking about boundaries in marriage, and we even said last week that even God, the creator of marriages, the creator of the universe, has boundaries. He provided guidelines and direction for all of us in terms of how to navigate um, in the different space that we find ourselves in. But as it relates to relationship boundaries, there are guidelines or limits that individuals set within a relationship that will protect their well-being, autonomy, and integrity. These are we can it include acceptable behavior, what's unacceptable, and basically things that you will do or that you will not do in certain circumstances.
Oh, yes. And so, as we get into our discussion this evening, we want to bring up some more um, boundaries that we have not even thought about. When we talk about boundaries, most times we kind of look at just the regular stuff, just like the physical and emotional boundaries, which we often becomes a point of discussion. But we want to start this evening looking at intellectual boundaries, and that sounds like a very broad term. But in relationships, one of the things that is quite evident is that as two people begin to explore knowing each other, you will find that opinions and beliefs are not necessarily the same, or the way we go about making decisions are not the same. And sometimes, if we are not careful, those those differences can come head to head at some point in time. And in the world that we live in, again, we are, as human beings, we like to hold on to our opinions, whether they are wrong or right, whether they are based on fact or fiction. We want to hold on to our opinions and our belief systems also. when especially when you come from two different cultural backgrounds sometimes, and even just socialization in general, that we come to the relationship with certain belief systems. And again, as human beings, we want to believe that our belief systems are set in stone. And because I believe it to be true, then it must be true. And so oftentimes there is this um confrontation sometimes, for want of a better word, where the belief systems and opinions conflict. It creates a conflict. And if persons are not able to navigate that conflict, it can even destroy the relationship, can destroy the marriage. It can destroy the relationship before it get to marriage, and can destroy also the marriage itself. And so the question is, how do we navigate these instances where our opinions and beliefs converge and cause conflict?
Because the idea is that you are entitled to have an opinion or have a belief. You are entitled, and that's a part of who you are as an individual. That's a part of that's what makes each person unique. And so it's important that in relationships that the partners come with an understanding that it's okay to have a differing, varying perspective or views on something, and that I don't have to conform or to agree with everything that you think or everything your perspective. So it's important. It's part of what makes you unique, and it's a part of what makes me unique. And so that understanding.
Hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power to the Lord our God. Hallelujah, salvation and glory, worship and praises to the Lord our God. Hallelujah, salvation and glory, dominion and reverence to the Lord our God. Hallelujah, salvation and glory, honor and power to the Lord our God.
So, all right, as we continue the discussion um, on intellectual boundaries, that and I asked a question a while ago whether or not my opinions and my beliefs, if they have to be based on fact. And you were saying,
This, ideally, it would be, and I want to answer you carefully because we are making the point here that an individual might have a belief, an opinion, and it's important to respect that belief and opinion, although it might not be based on fact.
mm,
So having a dialogue of some sort, where you delve into, what has shaped that
mm-hmm,
belief, what has shaped that opinion, and from sharing information, the individual might just change your mind. But it's important to 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 validate someone and understand that they might not believe what you believe, and it might not be based on facts.
mm-hmm.
It's a little tricky, but the idea is that somebody might have a belief that's not necessarily grounded in facts, and so by having the dialogue, by having conversation.
So at the heart of, all right,
Yeah.
so we were having a little bit of technical difficulty right there. I think we are back now. We can hear you, Dexter. Music. Yes, we can. Hearing us? Yeah, we can't hear through the music. Though. No, it's overpowering. We are hearing the music on this side more than anything else. You know what is happening at all. Yes, very loud.
Lord, I got.
Go on now. Back again.